They basically have red flag condo buildings and said, hey, we're not going to fund against this condo building. Like, you're good, you could buy, no problem, but we're not going to fund against this building. Hey everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker. So I actually ran into somebody, their conditions weren't put together so nicely in their agreement. So I just want to very quickly recap. If you guys are out there buying real estate, some basic things that I want you guys to know about a purchase and sale agreement. Basically, a lot of the purchase and sale agreement is pre-written, okay? So it's pre-written by lawyers. It's not favoring the buyer or seller. It's actually there to protect both of them, okay? So it's a lot of fair stuff that's written in a purchase and sale agreement already. There's a section in the purchase and sale agreement that's an attachment. It's called a Schedule A. So now the Schedule A is typically written by the agent. The most common conditions that you want to have in a Schedule A is for mortgage approval, okay? So you want to have something that says that, you know, you're going to submit this agreement to your bank and that they have 5 banking days, which is standard, 5 banking days for them to go through the agreement, look at the property, and just basically look at your finances again and approve you for this mortgage against this property. Just to sidetrack a little bit, you may have a pre-approval and you'd be like, hey, I'm buying, you know, a pre-approval I have for 500 and I'm buying for 450. Like, why do I actually need to go through this? Because there's actually 2 components to qualifying for a mortgage. The pre-approval part is on you. So how you financially shape up to this agreement. And then the other part of it is how the lender is viewing this property, okay? So there's 2 components. You could be pre-approved, but they could say, hey, we don't like it. There's been an instance that it's come up with us in condo buildings. They basically have red flag condo buildings and said, hey, we're not going to fund against this condo building. Like, you're good, you could buy, no problem, but we're not going to fund against this building. And sometimes it happens with homes. Like, they have it red flagged for whatever reason and they're not going to fund against it. So you want to make sure, even if you have a pre-approval, that you have this mortgage condition in there. So that's one thing. The second thing is a home inspection, especially when you're buying a freehold property. Freehold property, I mean, it's not a condominium or anything else like that. I still insert that condition for my buyers into their condo agreements. It's not really necessary, but it's there to protect the buyer at the end of the day. But for a house, townhouse, semi-detached, something like that, you really do want to get it inspected, especially if it's an older property. If it's less than 1 year old, my opinion is that you don't really need to get it inspected because it's going to be covered against carry-on. So everything is covered for a year, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're buying an older property, I would really want to get a home inspection done on it. Again, about home inspectors, you could probably get a home inspector for like $250 or $700. Typically, I don't like going with the $250 guys. Once you start using a guy that's, you know, $400 or $500, you could definitely see what the difference is between the home inspectors. So, you know, if you're putting out a lot of money out there, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, do your research against home inspectors and get a good home inspector in there to take a look at it. The extra couple $100 you spend up front is going to be well worth it in the long run. Just because we're talking about home inspections is not to make or break a deal. Really, a home inspection is looking out for major structural deficiencies, major issues with the thing. For the most part, with home inspections, what I find is what you're going to get is a to-do list. There's maintenance things that need to be done, and there's a whole educational component to a home inspection as well. The home inspection is, yes, to look for major issues that they're going to give you heads up. You know, your roof is already, 10 years old. The expectancy of this roof is, 12 or 15 years. So you have a heads up. Hey, look, I have maybe, 2 to 5 years or something like that I'm going to have to do the roof. They might look at the furnace and say, hey, your furnace is 10 years old. Statistical life expectancy is 12 years. So it might give you your wheel spinning. Doesn't mean the house is defective and doesn't mean that furnace is going to break down, but it's going to give you an idea of what you're going to have to do. So there are things like that, and there's in a home inspection will tell you, hey, maybe you need some caulking around this window, or you need to seal up this little thing. A lot of times grading comes up in a house. Like, grading ends up going into a negative if it's not kept up. So you want to make sure the house is sitting kind of on a pitcher's mound so the water is going away from it. And so these are just tips and tricks that the home inspector can tell you so you could protect your home. So home inspection, in my opinion, is very important to get done, and to get it done with the right type of home inspector. Another clause is, and it's really used in condominiums, only in condominiums, you want to have a status certificate clause in there. So status certificate clause, 10 days for the seller to provide you with the status certificate, 2 to 3 days review from the lawyer. They are a pretty quick turnaround, so don't get scared. 2-3 days is very fast. It's a very quick turnaround for a lawyer. These are the basic conditions that you want in there. For my buyers, I always put in a condition to have a lawyer review the agreement, the entire purchase and sale agreement. I want the lawyer to review it. I sometimes get pushback from agents. They're like, why do you have this in there? It's a pre-written thing. And I always have to explain it to them. Hey, like, you and I both know that it's pre-written and everything is good in it, but it's for the comfort for the buyer as well, right? Because they're not used to legal contracts. So I always have those conditions in there. I hope this helps you guys. I want you guys to be protected if you guys are out there buying real estate. Make sure that you have these clauses in there. If you guys have any questions about the conditions that should be in an offer, you want a sample of how these things work. Some of the stuff is very technical. I have some very plain language forms that I can forward to you guys if you guys are interested in taking a look. I'm here to help you guys. guys. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Like, subscribe, leave me your comments. Love to hear your feedback. Thanks, guys.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.